people pleasers just can't see that negative programming from childhood has essentially affected them for the most part of their lives.
I've stopped mistaking guilt for growth. Boundaries aren't rude. They're how you stop letting people treat you like a customer service rep for their bad decisions.
I was so focused on pleasing people just to get some type of love and attention that I forgot about myself in that process. And by the time she went to go confront herself, she felt so broken inside that she didn't even know what to do. And that's how she ended up living a life of just escaping her reality.
I disconnected my phone for 3 months. I did not tell anybody, and I straight up disappeared. This is not something that happened recently, but let me tell y'all what I learned from that experience. First and foremost, definitely had some reservations as a formal people pleaser. I felt like, you know, what if people need to reach me? I felt like, what if I upset this person? What if this person thinks that I don't care about them? But then I also thought about myself and why I felt the need to do that. I was overwhelmed. I was burned out. I felt like I was constantly helping people and it was not being reciprocated. And the thing is, this is why I tell people so much to learn to establish boundaries and to learn to be kind to people, so you're not being nice to other people, so you can't be nice to yourself. I was the type of person that would give to a fault. I was the type of person that would give you the things and then be like, wait a minute, I needed that. All right. I was the type of person I would be there no matter what. My phone, you could hit me up, I'm gonna answer. You could text me, I'm gonna pick it up. And I just did not know why I was doing that, but I knew I was overwhelmed. So I took that time off. And in that time off, the thing that I realized was people are fine. If you're not the person that can give somebody something, they're just gonna get it from somewhere else. And I'm not negating the importance of being there and building community and doing things for people, but I have to tell you, that point of isolation really showed me that the people that you're so afraid of disappointing, they will be fine. If you can't do it for them, there will be somebody else to do it. And that helped me to feel like, oh, let me take this cape off. I don't have to be nobody's hero. I'm just a resource, just like everybody else. Because what happens if the person outside on the corner that needs money, they ask everybody for $1. They don't care who tells them no. They just go to the next person. And even when they get a yes, they keep going to the next person to get what they need. I also learned my own limits and how to recognize when I was reaching my limit, because I was by myself so much and because I was not always at the whim of other people, because literally the phone was off, could not reach me. And one of the things that I would say about that is when you learn what your limits are, you can start to communicate them a little bit better. Before, I didn't really know my limits. I would just yes, whatever. And then I would get overwhelmed, but I have all of these commitments because I said I was going to do all these things. And if you're anything like me, you're going to honor all of your commitments, even if it means that you're just left here in the dust, tired and raggedy. And so it really did help me. And now I'm not telling anybody to go do this same thing, but I just want to tell y'all from the perspective of what I learned. If you are a people pleaser, the people will be fine without you. Don't go off yourself. That's not what I'm saying. When I say they will be fine without you, they love you. They need you. They want you to support them. But if you cannot, because you absolutely cannot for whatever reason, you don't have to feel personally attacked, like they're going to hate you, because even if they do, they're still going to find somebody else to solve their problem. And what I'm really trying to bring home here is when you are giving to people, do it from a place of being able to do it freely, willingly, not from a place of solely, I have to do this and I'm obligated. Because even God loves a cheerful giver. So he wants us to be able to give of people monetarily, with our time, whatever, in a very cheerful way. And I will tell you, a lot of the stuff that I was doing was begrudgingly. I didn't really want to. Now, it's not to say step back and never do anything. All I'm saying is be responsible with your time. Be responsible for yourself. Take care of yourself. Take care of other people. But there should be limitations. There should be boundaries. And you should feel comfortable saying no when it's something that you absolutely cannot do. You should never be at the point where you're just doing everything for everybody and you're completely burned out. Because you're no good when you're burned out. You're not efficient when you're burned out. You can't do the work of God when you're burned out. So help people, but help yourself too. Make sure you're good too. That's all I wanted to say.
Don't help yourself.
Y'all ever been on a plane and the airbag, when they're giving you the example, if the airbags drop, that you got to put your mask on first before you put your kid's mask on? I never understood that until I started understanding what she's kind of saying right here. You can't give energy if you don't have it. You can't give wealth if you don't have it. You can't help the other person if you're not helping yourself. I also seen something else where it was 3 glasses. There was this guy on Instagram, he had 3 glasses, and he would pour into the other 2 glasses before he poured into himself. And by the end of the video, it was like a quarter of water in his, but everybody else's glass was full. And now you can't take care of yourself. You have to understand that unless you are right, you can't get nobody else right. God needs a fully charged vessel so you can help other people. He wants to use you to help other people, but you have to be willing to help yourself. That is the whole reason of why we even here, honestly. You have to be able to help yourself so he can use you to help other people.
So help people, but help yourself too. Make sure you're good too. That's all I wanted to say.
4 years of breaking my people-pleasing habit in 60 seconds. Here we go. Number one, I realized 90% of my stress came from saying, yeah, it's fine, when my soul was screaming, hell the no. I wasn't being nice. I was being held hostage by my own manners. Number two, I used to treat approval like oxygen. Every sure, I don't mind, was me auditioning for the role of the most liked person who secretly hates everybody. Number three, I stopped over-explaining myself. No became a full sentence. Like, no PowerPoint, no backstory, no apology, just no. If you're confused, that sounds like a you problem. Number four, I lost a few family members and friends and homies. Turns out they didn't love me. They loved the version of me that did free emotional labor and answered texts immediately. R.I.P. to that man clown. I don't even know who that dude is.
Last year, I was in a relationship where all I did was perform. I changed a lot of the changes that I make, I still live by that today because I wanted to change as a person. You know what I'm saying? But when you change for the better, and then somebody continues to ask you to do more, it becomes draining. And me personally, since a youngin', I used to always explain myself, or I used to always say sorry too much, or I'm always the nice guy. I understand that, and I know that nice guys finish last. But one thing I don't want to do is change being a nice guy because I feel like I'm gonna finish last, so I feel like other people are not nice. Like, I'm still gonna be who I am. But what I'm saying is, it becomes a point to where you start performing more than living. You start literally just performing to be seen because you want to be nice to everybody. And it's not that I don't want to be nice to people. It's just that now I have to be nice to myself. All my life, I used to say, yo, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do. Now I know, for the most part, exactly the man that I do want to be. And a lot of that cannot happen if I continue to just give to everybody else. I have to start taking inventory of my own self. I have to start treating myself as if I am important, like I feel like I am. Hope I said that right. But y'all get what I'm trying to say. One other thing, do not just stay in a relationship because you're too scared to cut it off. Example, I used to be in a relationship where every time I offered an opinion or even said how I felt about something, we argued. It was not one time where I could say something that was just an opinion about the situation and we don't argue. So I knew exactly what I would do. I'm like, all right, at this point, as soon as we get to a certain point in the conversation, all you say is, okay. I was in jail. Like, all you say is, all right, don't offer anything. Even if it gets dead silent, don't say nothing else. Wild, awkward situations, just sitting there. And it was the beginning of me realizing that, bro, it's not necessarily a me problem. It's a you problem. Even when I just say, okay, you have a problem with that. So you don't want me to say, okay, and then you don't want me to give my opinion. Where the fuck am I? We have to develop enough strength within ourselves to where now no is the full sentence. Like he just said. No. Okay. All right. And that's it. If you have any type of problem with that, I'm not explaining myself. The man who's explaining himself is losing. And I don't like losing. So now that I know that, or I've been hurted, but now that I understand it, I'm not explaining myself to nobody.
I stopped mistaking guilt for growth. Boundaries aren't rude. They're how you stop letting people treat you like a customer service rep for their bad decisions. And last but not least, if you keep making everyone else comfortable, you'll wake up one day realizing you've been sleeping on yourself all along. Saved you 3 burnt out moments, saved you a lot of resentment from friends that don't deserve it, and 5 fake friends who only text for when they need a favor. Cash App or PayPal me $5.
It becomes a certain point in time where you have to realize people's patterns. I used to be loyal to a default just because I love family. And I'm not necessarily just talking about my family. I'm talking about, because a lot of friends are closer to me than my family. But I grew up in a dynamic to where it's like, yo, that's your brother. You never leave him alone. It was to a point to where it's like, if you don't tell me when you get home at night, we fighting the next day because I ain't know you got home safe. You know what I'm saying? Like literally to that point. And I still live by that to people that show me the same exact energy. If it's not reciprocated, bro, by all means, you do whatever the fuck you want to do. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, family, just having that dynamic of, oh, this is my family, or this is my close friend, or this is somebody that I want to stay with, like, I don't want to sabotage this relationship, so I'm going to people please all the way throughout the end. But then you have to realize, yo, this shit is not reciprocated. And as we get older, we have different paths of life. And it became a point to where I started focusing on myself, and other people started to resent me for focusing on myself. And now it's like, so am I not supposed to grow? It's like I'm doing all of this work just to stay the same? To have the same conversations with you? No. Change is inevitable. And if you're not a part of the change, it's not anything bad with you. It just means that we're growing at different paces, and I got to stay over here. And another thing, if somebody asks you for something just until they get right, make them wait until they say they about to get right. For example, people used to hit me up all the time. Hey, yo, can I get $5 till tomorrow? Nah, I'm not going to have it till tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes and then they need it for the next day. Or like I'll just say, yeah, I don't get paid till Wednesday. And then Wednesday comes and they need it until Thursday. And I'm just like, after a while, it brings the question, first of all, what is $5 going to do for you right now? Secondly, you just said you needed it until this date. Now that date came and you still don't got it. What the fuck is going on? And how do I know this? Is because I used to do this shit with my father all the way up until I got to college. It would cripple me to a certain extent because nobody else checked. Like my dad is literally the only person that I would really ask money for. You know what I'm saying? Because I feel like you owe me, nigga. But anyway, I feel like it is the only person that I would really ask money for, but I had to self-realize that it was crippling me. You know what I'm saying? Because he's not the type of person that would say, yo, go get it yourself, or cut me off and say, yo, I don't have it. He's going to continue to do it for me, but that's only because I feel like you owe me, nigga. However, for me, just as a man and being by myself for the last 15, 16 years, it became a point to where it's like, so that means I need somebody else to fund my life if I can't afford it. You know what I'm saying? If I can't afford it, that means I need someone else to fund it. What if he wasn't here? What if he didn't have that money? What if my mom didn't have it? What if my older brother didn't have it? So like, at that point, I have to start taking accountability and coming down on myself literally to say, yo, if you can't afford it, then you shouldn't even be indulging in what the fuck you doing. And it wasn't drugs or anything like that. I'm just talking about average life stuff. If I want to take a trip to New York, if I can't afford it, I'm not going. You know what I'm saying? If I wanted to take a trip to somewhere else, if I can't afford it, I'm just not going to be a part of the plans. Regardless of how much of my friends is going, how much of my family is going, I'm not going to make it seem like I can't afford it, but I will make sure that I'm not there. until the next time comes around and it's like, okay, now I got it, because I realized that you have to work on yourself rather than just making somebody else a source of income for you.
This is how I learned to put myself first, second, and third without feeling guilty. One day I was talking to my mom, and I've always wanted to know how she ended up where she ended up in life, right? Just the pain, the suffering, the regret. And I was afraid to ask her because I didn't want her to feel judged. I didn't want her to feel ashamed or embarrassed. I just genuinely wanted to know, as her son that loved her so much. So I was able to build up the courage, and I asked her, and she told me all her life she was hoping to get love and affection by her parents. Right? Her dad wasn't really in her life, and her mother was so busy taking care of everything that she wasn't able to give her the undivided attention and just that love that we require as children. So she ended up seeking that love and seeking that approval and seeking that affection from other people. So she ended up becoming a people pleaser. She told me, and when she told me this, it just really broke my heart. She said, I was so focused on pleasing people just to get some type of love and attention that I forgot about myself in that process. And by the time she went to go confront herself, she felt so broken inside that she didn't even know what to do. And that's how she ended up living a life of just escaping her reality.
Facts. A lot of the problem solving starts by looking in the mirror. And you have to understand that you have to hold yourself accountable. You have to be vulnerable with yourself, and you cannot lie to yourself. The only person that heard every single lie that you told was yourself. Now, on the other side of things, I was fortunate enough to meet one of my homies in college, to where he was cool with his grandmother all the way up until she passed away. Like, he was very, very close with her. And I believe she was like 87, almost 90 years old or something like that. And on her bed, he asked her, like, Grandma, how do you think you got to this point in your life? And she was successful. You know what I'm saying? How do you think you got to this part of your life? And she said, grandson, don't ever stop moving. I stopped moving, and then my life started to move backwards. I stopped working. I stopped going to the gym. I stopped doing this. And that was only at that age where she stopped, because physically she couldn't keep up the maintenance anymore. But all the way up until that point, she said, yo, don't ever stop moving. Continue to go. Even if it's just a little bit every day, I promise you it'll work, and your body will follow. See, a lot of the times our mind will see things, but then our body will tell us something totally different. But your mind is one of the strongest muscles in your body. So you have to keep that strong mental aspect to keep going. I love when I get jewels just in passing with people, because a lot of these things that I'm saying, it would be somebody that I came across with just for a segment of my life, or I'm leaving the supermarket. The second one was, I was at the supermarket, and this guy, he was just explaining to me how young I was. And I'm like, yo, well, age is nothing but a number. And he doubled down on it. He said, yes, because I feel like my mind will never age as much as my body is. And I was like, damn. Because he emphasized on, as old as he was, his mind was the sharpest thing in his life period.
Accepting that you are a people pleaser is one of the hardest pills to swallow, because it is inherently a childhood trauma response. A child grows up in a household of emotional volatility, hot and cold parents. You then have to be the neutralizer, the one that makes sure everyone's good, puts everyone's need first, right? You become very agreeable. And the negative programming for this child is that they end up putting everyone's feelings first at the cost of their own. Now you then grow up through teenage and adulthood, and your life quality is constantly going down because you are failing to have genuine human connections. Because when you are a people pleaser, you can't see people for what they are, rather the potential of who they could be. And this is very powerful. Most people that are people pleasers, they always end up in bad friendships, bad marriages, bad relationships, because they are married to the idea of the potential. Matter of fact, they are in two marriages. They are married to the potential of that person, and they are also married to everything that person isn't. Right? And it's a very sad reality, because being a people pleaser inherently is just somebody that obsesses over controlling people's feelings. You try to control people's feelings so they do not react in a negative way. They don't judge you. They don't shout at you. They don't scream at you. They don't slander you.
That's like
You're
jail.
really trying to control this. But as you know, in life, you can't control external things that are out of your control.
Nope.
Matter of fact, by you trying to control that, you lose yourself almost always. And if you guys know who Mel Robbins is, she has this theory called the let them theory, right?
let them theory.
And this is so powerful because when I started practicing it like 2-3 years ago, my life changed forever, right? The let them theory essentially is, instead of putting yourself through emotional labor, trying to control things that you cannot control, let them. For example,
Let them.
if my friend doesn't invite me to his birthday party, let him. Simple as. I'm not going to feel sad about it. I'm not going to feel angry about it. If, for example, somebody is mistreating me and I'm in an intimate relationship with them, I'm not going to be married to this potential of them. I'm just going to let them be how they are. And by letting someone be how they are, which is a very important thing to practice, by the way, it takes away this foggy lens that you have and you see the person for who they actually are, right? Letting someone be is a very powerful thing in a friendship and also in an intimate relationship. When you let someone be, don't even try to change them. Let them be how they are. What you end up realizing is they are not a good person. And once you realize they are not a good person, it's almost always easy to kind of leave that person. However, when you are married to the potential or the idea of that person, you are always in your head thinking about what could be rather than what is actually in front of you. So being a people pleaser, 2 steps, and this is something that I helped with my closest friend. You know, he finds himself being a people pleaser all the time, and he is a male, by the way. I told him 2 things, right? Number 1, take a deep dive into your childhood. Where did this even begin, right? What were your parents like? What relationship did you have with them, right? What kind of emotional trauma did you have to bear? First and foremost, history lesson. You have to acknowledge it. Number 2 is the let them theory. Instead of trying to control people's feelings, just let them be how they are. Stop trying to control outcomes. Stop trying to control people's outlook towards you or their view towards you, right? Once you really enunciate and you pronounce these words, look how empowering it is. Someone's mistreating you, let them. I'm not going to intervene. Let them. It requires a lot of hard work in the beginning, but once you really practice, let them.
And then
you end up seeing things for what they are rather than this blinded sight that you have of this potential, right? So being a people pleaser, one of the saddest realities for most people, because being a people pleaser, almost always that person is a good person. I've met these people, I've hung around with these people. People pleasers just can't see that negative programming from childhood has essentially affected them for the most part of their lives. They end up in the same relationships. They're always around the same people. And these people are not conducive towards their growth. Rather, they halt your growth. So just some advice. Being a people pleaser, you can always grow out of it. Doesn't mean that you become a crazy, selfish weirdo. It just means that acknowledge, take a deep dive into your past, right? Acknowledge where this negative programming came from. And let people be how they are. Stop trying to control people's feelings. Stop trying to control people's outlooks towards you. Because when you stop controlling, you see it for what it is. And once you see it, you will never unsee it.
I kind of wanted him to get all of his thoughts out before I responded because it hit home for me a lot, especially when he was talking about the hot and cold parents and how for kids, you are constantly trying to be that solution in between so there's no bad energy in the crib, right? Now, my dad is very well respected in the music industry. He's actually one of the top legends, so to say. If I said his name right now, you would probably know who he is. However, in that profession, at a young age, being very successful, you have to be a lot of other places rather than in the crib. Now, I know he could have made a lot of better decisions, just being honest. However, he did what he felt was needed at the time. Now, do I cry over spilled milk? No. But what I can understand is as a 30-year-old man right now and growing up with only my mom primarily in the crib, it made me want to perform to be seen, especially since he's a performer. I had to perform most of my life so I can feel comfortable in most situations, right? And it makes me, all right, do I actually want to do this? Yes, I do because it's my passion, but I felt like I had to do it more than anything else because I didn't know how else to be seen or express myself and feel that, oh, people are going to understand me, right? I took the easy way out to where it's like, okay, if I could perform just as good as he does or even better, maybe he'll see me and then maybe the world, you know what I'm saying? The world would see me. So it was kind of like a double-edged sword because it does give me a way to express myself, but it also put me in a introverted slash extroverted personality because now I don't necessarily know what I like in my own life at this right now in this day and age. You get what I'm saying? And yeah, I do well for myself. I'm a very good actor. I'm a very good performer, to say it like that. To where it's like, you could take it to another theory that I learned in college, to where it's like you have to act into the way that you want to feel. So it's not that bad at this day and age because I know exactly if I want to clean my room, I'm gonna be happy in cleaning my room because I know at the end of it all, I'm gonna have a clean room. I'm not gonna be mad. I'm gonna pick my emotion, act the way that I want to feel, and then over time you will start to feel that way because you're becoming that's your habit now. So I do know that there was pluses and pros to performing most of my life. However, I do know that there is a small amount, and it may be a lot more than what I'm thinking about, but there is some people out there that is only good at performing and trying to be a people pleaser so the other person can accept them or the world can accept them. And that right there is jail in a sense. And it wasn't until I got to college to actually realize that, yo, if you do not fix something, I didn't even know what needed to be fixed, right? But I just knew that that was the start of a more healing journey in college. And I graduated from college like 5 years ago. So this is over like 10 years ago where I just like learned the problem. You get what I'm saying? Because learning the problem does not mean you have the solution for it or anything like that. But just to realize that there's something to be worked on, that takes a lot of skill and strength in itself.
Finally seeing you for who you are.
And it wasn't until I got to college that really made me want to let people be exactly who they are. I always tried to perform so people could see me, but it wasn't until I got to college where I developed the true strength to really let people, like you said, the let them theory, let people be exactly who they are and then see how comfortable I am in my skin, even if they turn out to be bad people. Even if they turn out to be okay people, but they don't want to be a part of me because I'm not pleasing them in the way that they are used to. If all of that changes because now I'm trying to take care of myself, then it needed to change. I needed that to happen. And the relationship that me and my dad have now is one of the best that I could ever. I could never ask for anything better than this. But it's still that absence and that what's the name, it had a big impact on me to where it's like, okay, I have to let him be the person that he's gonna be. Maybe because his dad wasn't there when he grew up or whatever, just because it was gonna make me be the person that I wanted to be.
And once you do that, I can see you.
I'm about to take some time in therapy. The reason why you aren't healing, the reason why you feel stuck in your current part of your journey, the reason why you feel like you don't have the energy to get out or you're just like stuck in this mental fog is quite literally because you're too afraid to not be nice. Like, stop being nice. Who cares? Like, you're not nice. I tell people all the time, I'm not a nice person. I'm not. Why? Because when I was a nice person, I got ran over. When I was a nice person, I didn't set boundaries. Because being nice is very performative. It's like, I do this because it should be done. No, what should happen is people should respect you. And the reason why you aren't healing is because you're too worried about being nice that you aren't calling spades spades. Tell the people they hurt you. Tell the people that even though now they're better, that they caused you great trauma. Tell people that, you know what, you actually don't respect me and I don't have to deal with this. Actually, you suck and I'm dipping. Stop being nice and you'll start healing.
Now, I don't really focus on being a nice, I just want to be a good guy. As long as my intentions is good and every single day I'm living without regret, then I'm fine. I could care less about what other people are thinking about me, how other people feel about me or anything. And I try to tell my son that. And that's something that I want my son to pick up on. Because being nice almost my whole life set me back emotionally, financially. And in any other way that you could possibly think of, because I wanted to be nice and people please other, even physically, if I wanted to go to the gym and my partner didn't want to go to the gym, they wanted to do something else, I would literally try to think about how can I sacrifice what I want to do or need to do so the next person could be happy. I'm not doing that anymore. I'm going to be a good person. I'm going to have good intentions. That's it. Being nice to you and saying sorry a lot or saying thank you too much or what, all of that stuff goes out the window now. I could care less. As long as I'm a good person and I'm not. You want to know why? Because being nice in today's society tells other people that you're a green flag. It means that whatever I want to do to you, it can happen. And that's the one thing that we know, especially as men, when you're in prison or anything, when you be nice too much, yes, you are targeted. Period. And that's the one thing that I want to say to the young black men out there. When you are nice too much, you are targeted. You're targeted by women. You're targeted by men. You're targeted by any person that feel like they could get something from you. They're going to ask. Why? Because you're nice.
But in people pleasing, you have to look and see who you're putting on pedestals. And then you have to question yourself and see, first ask yourself, am I deserving to be on that same pedestal that I put people on? Most times you're probably going to tell yourself that you're not deserving to be on that pedestal. You need to ask yourself why you're not deserving to be on that pedestal. Why is this person more deserving to be on this pedestal than me? There's something you're comparing yourself to, or there's something that you're fearing. Also in people pleasing, when we're trying to break away or dismantle the ideal or the notion of people pleasing, what you have to do is start to ask yourself, what am I sacrificing to keep these people happy? Most times the sacrifices that you're making within yourself are the best things that you value within yourself. They're the strengths that you see as weaknesses in yourself. Most times you even sacrifice your happiness to make other people happy. But will these people do the same thing for you? And is it reciprocated, right? Most times reciprocity is absent in people pleasing. We're giving a lot more than it is that we're receiving. You are deserving to receive exactly what it is that you desire to receive, but you have to affirm yourself enough to where you can start operating in that belief instead of the negative ones that you have.
Jesus didn't live to please people. And I love this one because a lot of people, when they have a idea of who Jesus was, they think Jesus was this soft pushover guy walking on water, just healing people. Nah, Jesus had morals. Jesus had boundaries. I mean, even Jesus, Jesus had a mission. He had an objective. And just because people wanted something extra doesn't mean he was just going to give it. If it wasn't in his capacity or not even capacity, because Jesus could do anything, but if it wasn't in his line of sight for his mission to be accomplished, to give you what you're asking for, you wasn't going to get it. For even Christ did not please himself. Romans chapter 15, verse 3. Jesus served people, but he did not change his message or actions to fit their expectations. He spoke truth, even when it offended. The goal is to love people, not to please them. If possible, so far as it depends on you, live peaceably with all. Romans chapter 12.
Well, this ain't gonna turn into Bible study, but I understand what he's saying when he speaks about Jesus and not pleasing people. You see, a lot of people don't understand. A lot of people don't. You're gonna brush past a lot of jewels in life unless it's coming from a familiar place. You see, I'm Muslim. So I didn't want to just turn it off because he's talking about the Bible. I actually love Christianity. The way I see religion is if your mom said 2 + 2 = 4, my mom said 2 × 2 = 4. Now there's a bunch of different equations that we could go to get to the same number, but it would take for us to pass away and meet up there to say, oh, I didn't know that you was right as well. You know what I'm saying? So I like listening to the other books as well. And one thing that he's saying that I actually agree with in the Bible is that Jesus was not a people pleaser. One of my aunts called me a long time ago, and this is when I took my Shahada. It was over 10 years ago. One of my aunts called me, and I don't think she knew that I just took my Shahada, but she was speaking about Muhammad, the last prophet. And she says that she thought Muhammad was so nice out of this and that. And she came across some information that she felt like Muhammad was an asshole. And I had to explain to her exactly what this guy is probably explaining in this video. It does not mean that. So if the prophet was so focused on people pleasing, he would not be able to serve God in the way that he was able to do it. You cannot see, everybody down here is imperfect. Nobody's perfect but God, right? So if I'm only trying to serve imperfect people, what does that make me? Let's go to the source. You know what I'm saying? So it really makes no sense to think that, when you really think about it, it makes no sense to think that the last prophet or Jesus or any other apostles or whatever was a nice human being, like really just nice across the board. No, they're going to give it to you how it's supposed to be given. And of course, the book, the good book and all of that is just, in my eyes, I feel like it's all metaphors and things that you could take and interpret yourself. That's why I love being creative, because there's not a song out there that tells you exactly how to think about the song. No, whatever you take from it is what you take from it. And what I take from the Bible, from the Quran, from the Torah, from all of them, is that there's so much other things. Is that we live in an imperfect world, and God's children in different stages was sent down here to us to show us the right way to live. So if we're amongst a bunch of imperfect people and we have to show these imperfect people the right way to live, why would I only serve you and your needs and what makes you happy? It really doesn't make any sense when you think about it like that. If I'm sent down here in impurity to be the most perfect example, because nobody's perfect, why would I only choose to serve you or try to serve what makes you happy? It makes no sense. So as y'all can see, this video was very fun for me to make. It was very fun. I had to be vulnerable because it hit home a lot. And I offered a lot of information that you may have not known, or you may not know still, unless you watch this video. So unless you watch this video, you'll know some more things about me. But bottom line is, try not to be a nice person. Just try to keep your conscience clear. Continue to give back, and don't let nobody change who you are because they're a certain way. Like he said in the middle of the video, let them. Let people think the way they're going to think about you. If you don't, you're going to be incarcerated. Literally. So, peace.
Verse 18. Your